Myers. I'm the chairperson of the Housing and Land Use Committee. And today is June 2nd, 2021. I want to welcome everyone. So we're going to start with Justin. Justin has a presentation that he wanted to get. Justin, we're going to give you 5 to 10 minutes on this presentation. I hope that's enough time.
Yep, that should be great.
Start.
All right. Do I have the ability to share my screen?
Not really, but if you need to, I will. But whatever you're sharing, can you just email it to me?
Yes, I will.
All right, hold on, Justin.
Oh, I see it now.
All right, there you go.
All right, can everyone see my screen and hear me okay?
Yes, Justin, you got it.
All right, so hello everyone, good evening. I'm Justin Lamorella from the Department of City Planning at Bronx office. You might remember I presented last month on a citywide zoning text amendment called Zoning for Accessibility. Tonight I'm back to talk about another zoning citywide text amendment called the Hotel Special Permit. Just a reminder of what a zoning text amendment is. It's to the rules of what can and cannot be built in the city. And this proposal does have citywide implications. And because of that, it was referred to every community board in the city as of May 3rd. And we are asking for recommendations. So this proposal, called the Citywide Hotel Special Permit, would create a new special permit for any new hotel development across the city. The goal is to create a consistent approach for hotel development and ensure that new hotels do not negatively affect their surrounding areas. Just for a bit of background, by 2019, so the year before the pandemic hit, New York City experienced record growth in the tourism industry and its hotel pipeline for the 10th year in a row. And in the past 5 years, New York City saw a 40% increase in hotel inventory. So despite this increase in hotel room supply, demand also continued to rise, keeping the annual occupancy at around 87%, which was among the highest for urban markets in the United States. Over the years, rapid growth of new hotels across different districts in the city led the City Planning Commission to adopt a variety of special permits, resulting in an inconsistent approach for regulating hotels. For instance, you might remember that back in 2018, a special permit was adopted for M1 light manufacturing districts to address conflicts between hotels and the operation of industrial businesses. While it is important that hotels can continue to locate throughout the city to support a vibrant tourism economy, the pace and patterns of development driven by record high visitation has created conflicts with adjacent uses and overwhelmed some communities. Today, most hotels are allowed to be built as of right, where they're allowed in your district, except in M1 zoned light manufacturing areas, which already have the special permit. So what this proposal does is require that all new hotels file a special permit with the City Planning Commission and go through the full ULURP process in order to obtain approval. This is an additional level of review and oversight for hotels where the community board will have an opportunity to weigh in during the ULURP process. It's also important to note the proposed special permit does not permit necessarily, nor does it deem all future hotels inappropriate. But it does require the City Planning Commission to assess the appropriateness of each development based on the future use and development of the surrounding area. So the new special permit will be applicable in all areas where hotels are permitted today. So those are high density commercial areas, mixed use areas, and M1 residential areas. It will also apply to those areas that already have the special permit, such as the M1 special permit that was passed in 2018. So this map shows where the special permit would apply. In the gray areas, the special permit for hotels already exists in the M1 light manufacturing areas. In those areas today already, someone wanting to build a new hotel would have to apply for this special permit and go through the full ULURP process. The pink areas are the new parts that this proposal would affect. In those areas today, someone could build a hotel as of right. They wouldn't come to the City Planning Commission, they wouldn't come to you, they would just go to the Department of Buildings, get their permit, and start building. So with this special permit, proposal, they would then have to go through, the ULURP process, come talk to you, come talk to me, etc. In the white areas, hotels are not allowed to be built as of right today, and that would not change with this proposal. So the proposed special permit text amendment was referred out to all 59 community boards for 60 days on May 3rd. After the 60-day referral period, which includes community boards, borough presidents, and borough boards, the proposal will go back to the City Planning Commission before moving on to the City Council later this year. So in summary, the hotel special permit text amendment would propose that all new hotels will have to file for a special permit, go through the full ULURP process, and will need to meet the findings of the special permit and be subject to site plan approval. And just as a reminder, at the bottom of the screen here, we have the full ULURP process, meaning that after a special permit enters public review, the community board would have 60 days to review it, hold a public hearing, and submit a recommendation. And then it would move on through the process to the borough president, city planning commission, city council, etc. So that's it. That's the end of the presentation. But of course, happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Justin, on that presentation. I had a question, but not really. I don't know if it's important. But so now they could just build as a right, you said, right? So with this process, they would have to come in through the community board and let them approve it first and then go through the other layers.
Yes. So currently, yes, this proposal in most areas, in those pink areas that you saw, you could build a hotel right today. If this proposal passes, then yes, they would have to file for the special application, go through this lengthy process, and as part of that would be the ULURP process where they would come before you.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone have a question?
I have a point of reference, Madam Chair,
Okay.
So, Justice and City Planning, they're expecting community boards to vote on each one of these new text amendments, which are 5. And our board took the position that we're going to hear the presentations and then have a vote at the borough board. However, I do feel that we should put something in writing to that effect.
Yes.
And worst case, we may have to have a vote maybe in June, one vote for all of the text amendments. Something that I will present at the executive committee, but I just want to, go on record, I guess, to say that we will have to put something in writing. And
Yes.
worst case, we may have to take one vote for all of the text amendments. So, because Justin is making the presentations at our request, and it might be something where the city council, the borough president, is looking for us and each board in the borough to vote on. So I just wanted to bring that out there. And by the time we have executive, I'll have more information regarding that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Acevedo. Okay, no one else have questions? Okay, none being said. Thank you, Justin, for that wonderful presentation. Our second
Thank you.
person on the agenda is the Metropolitan Realty exemption. Is someone here?
Traffic light.
Is someone here from the presentation from Metropolitan Realty exemption?
So, Madam Chair, this is an agency that we've been inviting for the last 2 months.
Right, I know.
We
That's
did
what I'm
get great
that's what I'm
information
saying.
from Ted Weinstein from HPD last month. Unfortunately, there's no one here. But this is, a public meeting, and we just wanted to go on record that they have not been showing up to our invitations.
Thank you so very much for that note. Okay, so since no one's here from that agency, we're gonna move on to the beautiful Miss Ismini of Management. Hi, Ismini.
Hello, how are you? How's everybody?
But
You.
Madam Chair, I
So,
just want to let you know that you're joined by your committee member Paul Martinez is on with us also. So you have
okay,
one of
thank
your
you.
committee members here, and Jeffrey. I'm sorry,
Great,
Jeffrey
And
thank-
Cohen.
Jeffrey. Okay, so we're ready when you are, Ismini.
Great. I think we sent the presentation. Thank you. And it's really great to see everyone virtually and those I can see. And we have some folks from the 1A and 1B team, and they'll be chiming in. But we wanted to present just an update to the community before everyone broke up for the summer. So thank you. I think we have, I don't know, I can't see everyone. I think we have Josh from Gilbane, and we have
Yeah, I saw
Serena,
Josh.
and we have Serena from Hudson, and we have
Yes, I see her.
Dimitri from the Hunts Point Builder. He wears many hats, so
Yes.
whichever hat he wants to be wearing is all good. He's an all-around guy. And I think Berka might be with us, but I don't see him.
I don't see him either.
Okay, so Serena and Josh and I and Dimitri, you have. So again, if I say anything, I'm gonna go ahead and run through the updates, and Serena and Josh and Dimitri, please chime in, and then of course questions.
This is Becca.
welcome.
I'm here as well.
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you, Becca. Thank
Hey.
you. Okay, great. So should I don't know who controls this. So do you wanna this is a
Just
picture.
let me know when to move the slides, Ismini, and I'll be more than happy
Thank
to.
you. Thank you, Ralph. So this is a picture that's, I think, maybe either today or very recently, showing the building construction from our time-lapse camera. Next slide, please. Okay, this is just a reminder what we're talking about, which is phase 1, which is building 1A and 1B, and phase 2, which we'll give you a quick update at the end. Next slide, please. Okay, and these are going to be just some pictures showing the status of the construction. As you can see here in 1A, and if you walk by, we've got the building is finally all closed up, and we have all the windows in. Actually, the solar panels are also on the roof. The building's 97% complete, so it's really just the big issue here, which we'll talk about, is that we do not have gas in the building, which does not allow us to actually turn on all the systems, which has been holding us. Next slide, please. And this is the 1B building, 720 Tiffany, and started taking down the screen so you can actually see the windows and the brick and the facade work. Next slide, please. Great. And again, so this is just a quick update. The building 1A is at 97% complete, as I mentioned, and we are hoping, expecting, working on negotiating, scheduling with Con Edison, and are expecting that we will have gas this month, and then we will be able to get our temporary certificate of occupancy in July. And we actually have, and we may even have more than 7 tenants. We really have, and I'm sorry, I didn't do a slide on the tenancy, but just quickly we have quite a number of tenants selected for the spaces, including a coffee roaster that will also have a cafe that's negotiating for the space right at the corner of Tiffany and Spofford. And he's moving from the Banknote building where it became unaffordable for him. We have a Colombian tamale maker that's going to be the one closest to 720 Tiffany and the stairs to the yard. We're still working very closely with Bascom Catering to open his catering business and cafe facing the plaza. we have a company called KD Knits. They are a design and production knitting company that knits all kinds of things, including for theater and production. So they are currently actually in New Jersey, but they were in the city. They want to come back to the city, and they would not only be design and production, but they would also offer training. And so there'd be a huge hiring and training component for their business as they grow their business. And they are actually interested in the full second floor space. What's really exciting about that is that it's really an employment and production company, and it will not be kind of a party place. A lot of the places we had talked to were really, wanted to do kind of media and studio photography, but then they wanted to kind of have events. And we were concerned about the events, both parking and noise, and how many people would actually be employed. So this is a real employment production company that and that we're looking forward to introducing to the community. We also have Cake Pops, which makes the cake on the stick that is coming. We have a Soda Stream type company. They actually have they actually have like water coolers, but they provide seltzer, flavored seltzer, and the company would be, this would be one of their headquarters, and they would be they would be delivering to places where they deliver in New York City, and they would be making repairs. So they also would be looking at hiring local folks to become delivery people and repair people. And then we have a tea maker that is actually going to be relocating from Hunts Point Market to here, again, bad lease terms at Hunts Point Market, and as looking to open in our space. And then finally, we actually have our incubator kitchen that is going to be upstairs next to Bascom Catering, and have a slight opening to the plaza. And we're going to be creating 3 kitchen stations. And we will be actually circulating a flyer that we would want hopefully everyone to circulate to look for prospective users of this incubator kitchen, people who are currently cooking in their homes and want to be in a shared kitchen. So that actually is moving forward, and we'll be investing a bunch of money to bring that to reality. So that's where we are with the leasing up. And so people are ready to sign leases for these spaces. We're really, really excited. And I want to be thinking about what kind of event we can have to introduce them all to the community board, the council people, and the community at large. So we're thinking about what that will look like. Next slide, please. Okay, 1B construction. Dimitri, I don't know if you want to just step in and give a quick update, or Serena or Josh on the 1B, so people don't have to only listen to me.
Hey, it's Meany. It's Josh, White Gilbane Development. So we are moving rapidly now at the 1B building. As you remember, in December, we had our top off. The images showed that the brickwork is near complete and the scaffolding is coming down. So in the next week or 2, you'll see the scaffolding netting completely removed, and work will continue on the interior parts of the building. We moved from the bottom floor up, so we're doing painting, flooring, finishes in the bathrooms, and then next we'll work on cabinets and appliances, and we hope to be out of there by January or February of 2022. We're currently 65% complete. We've got a full staff. We've got a full workforce on site every day, and we're trying to get this thing wrapped up as quickly as possible. Next slide. So as you know, we're working with Crescent Consulting. I don't believe Amar was able to join us. He had an emergency this evening. And we're also working with Sustainable South Bronx and Bronx Works and Building Skills as well as local coalitions. And we're trying to keep a populated list of local people that are ready and available for work, as now the scope of the work and the work within the building has changed from the exterior masonry scaffolding type of work to interior work. So we're looking to continue to keep that list populated and share that with all of our subcontractors. Next slide. And you want me to do it or you?
Sure. We can each do ours, so
Okay.
I'll do 1A and you do 1B. So basically, we wanted to give you some round numbers. Basically, 1A had minority percentage of the budget of the construction budget and soft costs, hard and soft costs. 41, almost 42% have gone to minority and women-owned businesses, and 44% have been also local. So those are doubled numbers. It's not 80, it's not 85. So some of the MWBs are local, and some of the and some are just local, and some are just MWBE. So there's an overlap. And we've hired, I think that the numbers are higher than the local Bronx residents. And I will send that updated list afterwards, because Omaro had an emergency. I wasn't able to give you that full number. Josh, do you want to go through your numbers?
Sure. So similarly, looks like we're losing to Ismini on purchased percent purchase, but we're and we're almost completely purchased the property, but we continue to look to hire local, as I mentioned previously, and increase that number to the extent feasible, and working with Crescent and local organizations on that front. Next slide.
Next slide, please. I think that's our presentation, right? I think we're open for questions.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. Is there anyone that has any questions?
I do have some, questions and a comment, I guess, Madam Chair. But if anyone else, like from your committee, Jeffrey or Paul.
Joyce is on the line too, so she hears everything that's going on.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Hi, Joyce. Good evening.
Hi, Joyce.
Joyce, everyone. No question. So, my first question then would be, this was a great presentation, Josh, but there's a lot of new players also. I mean, I know Smeeney and Demetrius. I don't know if Demetrius is on site every day, because I know he was, but I think whenever, like on Gilbane and Hudson's side, we've been dealing with a lot of different staff members there. It would be good to know whose like current portfolio this is under. I'm used to just dealing with Aaron from Hudson and Blaze from Gilbane, and I don't see them. But I hope that you guys could just be more transparent with us, with having who's like there and so forth. I don't want to keep having to go to East Meeting. I don't think it's fair to East Meeting also. But you can just keep us up to date with like who's now who for each development. That would be great.
Sure. I mean, we meet every week as a team with Blaze and Aaron and Ismini. We're all very much informed on the project, but on a day-to-day basis, you're looking at the people running the project. It's myself, Ismini, and Serena. So we try to keep things for you and have Ismini be your point of contact. But if you want, we can all be CC'd on those emails, whatever's easiest. But we're happy to be, we're trying to be as transparent as possible. So, let us know what your preference is.
And I will, and Ralph, I can circulate, and Paula, I can send to, I'll circulate all of our, I mean, you have our emails, but I'll put all of our, I'll put a little cheat sheet together with everyone and kind of their roles. So I can do that and circulate it, okay?
Yeah, just to keep us updated with who's doing what. with
Yep.
development, because as obviously even from this presentation, it's split between Manny and Josh, right? Like, so I just
Yeah.
just
Well, I
so
just
we
didn't want you
know,
to, I didn't want you to hear me talking the whole time. I wanted to share.
it's fine. It's fine. Thank you. We're still on track with the same number of units, the same breakdown as far as what was presented and passed as the ULUP. Is that correct?
Yes, that is absolutely correct. And we will be, we've actually, just on that note, and Ralph, thank you for bringing that up. So the building is 67% complete. So we will be reaching out, actually we reached out already, but we'll be following up with HPD and HDC to get our notice of intent to market and get our kickoff meeting. And we probably, I'm just trying to work backwards to February. We may actually, so that people don't go stale, we're watching it very carefully. So somewhere between 70%, 75%, we will want to begin marketing, and that might come over the summer while the community board is on break. But we will still let everybody know. It makes it harder to work through the community board in the summer, but we will let you know. And it may be given, as we track the schedule really, really closely, that we we might start in August, but it'll stay open. The lottery will be open into September. So we will let you know, and we will be doing outreach and events for that. But the income tiers will be the same as we discussed and presented for ULURP. Yes.
Great, great. What about the Head Start program, La Peninsula? So I know that they're getting space and they're starting to, they're in this building, correct? Or they're coming up in the
No.
next building?
They're coming in phase 2, and maybe we can, yeah. So basically, we have really good news on La Peninsula. As you all know, the whole childcare program moved from ACS over to the Department of Education, and they did issue their RFP. And the great news is that La Peninsula was actually selected to continue the contract for this site. So that's really, really good, because I know that was a huge concern for the councilperson and for the councilman and for the community board. So that's really good. We have been, and Josh or Serena can also give some update. We've been in very, very negotiating with the school construction authority on the space at that'll be in part of phase 2. In the phase 2, actually, if you're looking at the picture here, phase 2 has 2 buildings, and they may close together, they may close separately, but they're going to be at similar construction and whoops
Perfect.
it'll be in building 2A is where the childcare Head Start program that La Peninsula will be running will be built right into the ground floor space of building 2A.
And if I could follow up on that, we're speaking monthly with HPD and HDC on funding phase 2. We seem to have, broken a barrier of silence when we don't speak to them. So we weren't sure when the project would close. We're targeting a June closing, so in a year, to close at least one of the buildings, if not both. I think from a community standpoint, it'd be phenomenal to get both of these constructed simultaneously. It shortens the amount of time that buildings are in construction in the area. We're speaking with Salamanca to help us lobby the city to get both buildings closed at once. As you may know, there's a garage that sits underneath both buildings. So at a minimum, we'll be able to build the full garage, which will minimize a little bit of the eyesore. But our goal is to try to get these both constructed at the same time and complete the project in a timely manner. But the city holds our keys to our destiny there. But we're working with Salamanca, and if you talk to him, feel free to whisper in his ear and say, "Hey, I heard you're going to close these at the same time."
Well, I
Okay.
think it's even more than that, Ralph. I think, maybe we want to chat, not on this call, about a strategy. We don't, there's a very delicate balance. The city has limited resources in terms of, these are two relatively large, one very large, larger building and one, medium-sized building. And they have lots of, with the year lost in the pandemic and all of this stuff, there's, but I think it doesn't, we feel very strongly that it doesn't make any sense not to build these simultaneously, whether they close the day after each other, different sources, et cetera. But I think it'd be great to strategize a little bit about not aggravating them by pressuring them, but also pressuring them. So it's a very delicate dance that we're doing. They're very sensitive. And so we really want to figure out how to put the right pressure on and prioritize this project, knowing that there's lots of other projects that deserve priority at the same time. But it'll be very disruptive to not move these together.
Okay. That was part of my next question, just like the timeline. So
Yeah.
we're still on the same timeline, obviously, but it's just getting HPD to the table for the finances. So we do have some representatives from HPD here. I don't think that's their department, but at least the whisper already started, Josh. How about that?
Great.
So, and then my
Excellent.
I have a comment, Madam Chair, if I may, and it has really nothing to do with La Peninsula, but it does with 700 Oneida Street, which is East Sweeney's building. So I drove by there at night, and I've seen already some of the residents take pictures. So it looks like all of the construction on the outside is down, like there's no walls up or anything, and it's actually lit up at nighttime, and it's very beautiful seeing all the lights on. It lights up that whole part of the neighborhood. So I guess that's a telltale sign of when La Peninsula is completed also, just how that part of our district is going to be. We're going to have over 800 apartments with these two projects, with the Peninsula and 700 Oneida. So it's certainly going to revitalize that part of our district. So good job with that, East Meany, and thank you so much for that on behalf of the community. I want to just say thank you for that. So.
Well, thank you. If you want, I mean, I don't want to, I would love to give you just a quick update on 7. I know it's not on, it's like separate, but if people have questions on Peninsula 1A, 1B, 2A, and then I can give you just a quick update on 700 Oneida.
I have a question. These buildings are only for businesses, the one that's opening soon, or will residents be a part of that?
Yeah, so Paula,
Okay.
building 1A is only businesses. It's a light
Okay.
industrial, and our relationship to that building. So Manny controls that one. It had to be a nonprofit controlled. So that one. So we're all part of the same family, but that one has, they each have their own ownership structure. And that one is a light industrial job generator. And so it's the whole idea. It has kind of 3 missions. One is kind of as many small businesses. So there's no change. There's no, it's all like small businesses really focused on the Bronx. And if they're not, but still, the second is they have to make something, and they have to create jobs. And then the third is that, why am I having a brain freeze? Sorry, I just had, gosh. Anyway, so I mean, that's their main function is that they really are supposed to actually create jobs, and that's what they're all doing. They're all going to, in their leases will actually be conversation. There'll be requirements, or at least very strong recommendation around local hire and hiring in general, and local hire. And we will be hiring, and the hires have to go through Hire NYC. So we'll be reporting to the city on the job creation that Building 1A and 1B ultimately have, whether it's the supers, the maintenance staff, or any employees that come through the programs that are housed in the buildings.
Okay, so building 2A and 2B will be the residential portion, right?
No, 1B is also residential.
Yeah.
Remember, so 1A is
Okay,
only,
so
right. 1B has 183 residential units, 182, and 1 maintenance resident staff person.
Okay, because I know we've done the workshop quite some time ago. When are we gonna pick up that measure so that
Yep.
the community could be involved and engaged in the process?
Yep. So that's what I was saying earlier. So I think as soon as we know, I mean, we can start again, Paula. We don't have to wait for the actual lottery. So I can
Yeah,
work with
right.
the,
No,
yeah, because we're looking to start that lottery formally will probably come out like August or September. And so I think we can absolutely, I can call you offline, you and Ralph, and we can start scheduling things for the summer. Okay.
that's sort of soon.
Great.
We need to
Okay.
do that
Yep.
immediately.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Great. So I'll reach out to you independently and we'll set up a schedule for that, both pre-lottery and during lottery.
Oh, okay, because it was supposed, I mean, I know we did it a while ago, but
Yeah, and we're gonna pick
the
it up again.
emphasis, the importance of that was that they would have a year's time to like get everything in order. And also they're not allowed to use your credit score for the applicant process of
That is
this.
correct.
Okay, thank you, because that
Absolutely.
was one of the big things for us in the community back about 2 years ago why we created the workshops. But I think the workshops will still do help in getting people to understand the process.
Absolutely, Paula. No, I miss you and I miss the workshop, so we're ready.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there anyone
Madam
that has
Chair, yeah,
Yes.
we have a community resident, Jose Rojas, who has his hand raised.
Okay, Mr. Ross, how are you? Great to see you. You can go forward with your question.
Yes, good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Acevedo. My question is, I know the neighborhood, I grew up in the neighborhood. Now we have schools there. Are they gonna build a bookstore for the kids to come? Because the closest library, for what I understand, is Southern Boulevard. Barnes and Nobles left us. So are you guys willing to put a bookstore for the kids?
So, Mr. Rojas, great question. Can I just tell you that Manny is doing this initiative that we started in one of our buildings in Brooklyn that we're going to be bringing to all of our buildings that have community rooms. And it's actually a community library. It's not a bookstore. It's a community library that we actually set up in our community rooms. And we work with an organization they're called Brooklyn Book Bodega, but they actually work citywide. And what happens is we actually they have this huge endowment and program to set up the libraries, and they provide 5 books per kid. So anyone under 18 and under gets 5 books. And then they give the library 1,000 books to get started. And then we actually identify people in our buildings that want to be basically the librarians. And we have and we set it up so that there's comfy chairs and rugs, and so there's and we set up an entire schedule that allows people to borrow the books from the library. They can trade in their books. 1,000 books is not, we actually add books to the library all of the time. The librarians learn how to log the books, and then there's reading hours and there's quiet time for imagine, especially this past year, when you might have 3 kids and everyone is on like remote learning, and even if you're in a 3-bedroom apartment, where do all these kids go? So we're actually we tried it out in one of our buildings, and it's people are so excited, so successful, that we're going to actually expand it into every one of our existing community rooms. So we will be bringing a community library to both 700 Oneida and the Peninsula buildings. And then the other thing, I'm sorry.
No, and about the non-residents, will they be accepted in as well?
Yeah, so I think we need to then figure out how we can expand that into our non-residents where they can participate in that. Okay, so I
Thank you.
want to think about that. And then I just wanted to tell you one more thing that we didn't tell you about our building, which Oneida doesn't have this because it's really rather new, but we can actually install it after the fact. We are bringing internet service into the entire building, basically for $15. So I know that the governor passed this law or bill, whatever, but we actually had this planned well before. So we're working with a company called Starry, and the building is literally wired. already wired. So Verizon is there, and whatever Spectrum, whatever they change their Altice, whatever they're called, you know, they're there. But we also have this other company, Starry, and they literally have routers on every floor going into the apartments. And so people can tap in literally upon move-in. The service is literally going to be already there, already on, and they can tap into it. And then we're working with Starry, not only, so it's great to bring that in, that's needed, but then the other thing that's missing is that a lot of times people don't have the actual tools, right? They don't have enough computers or enough, you know, to be able to accommodate all their kids. And so we're working with them to find resources to bring the actual equipment to the residents also. So we're actually, so both books, which I love, and, you know, hard books, and then the actual internet services is what we'll be bringing to the peninsula.
Thank you. That's it.
So do you want me to give you a quick update on 700 Oneida?
That's okay, Ismini. Just for the sake
Okay.
of time, maybe do it, but you can always shoot me an email regarding that.
Great.
I have one more question though. If I were to go there tomorrow, who can I ask for that's on site? Is it Dimitri?
At the peninsula?
Yes, at the peninsula,
Oh,
at the
yeah,
construction.
yes.
Yeah.
Dimitri, I think, is on site almost every day. Dimitri, I think you're on. Do you wanna speak for
I'm
yourself? Sorry.
on site frequently. I'm not on site every single day. We do have a project manager on 1B, Alex Aducci, who is there every single day. I'm
Okay,
always
this is what I need
available.
to know, Ismini. This is like going back to my example of,
Yep.
you know, people changing. Just
Yep.
whoever, just shoot me an email who can be there.
Yep.
So if I go there, who I'm gonna ask for, okay?
I'm gonna send, yeah, I'm gonna give you he's been the field foreman the whole job. I will send you his contact info, and I will send you Rob's information, which I think you have, Johnson, for 1A. So I'll send you that, so you
Perfect.
can stop by anytime. And if you want to go to 700 Midnight, I'm gonna send you that one also.
Perfect. Thank you, Dimitri. Good to see you, Dimitri. Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you so much.
Ralph, it'd be great if you gave us a heads up, because we'd be happy to meet you at the site as well.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Not giving you the heads
I know.
up, right?
Well, then you don't get to see me.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Ismini, for all that information. We appreciate it, and I'm so excited about the not the book library, but the bookstore / library concept.
Yes, yes.
Are there any more
And
questions? I'm sorry, what was you saying, Ismini?
no, I'll reach out to you tomorrow or Friday to go over to set up to start the whole rolling out the marketing stuff.
Thank you so much. Ralph, can I see the agenda so we can move forward and we'll finish? Okay, so after Ismini is Mr. Michael Sharp. I know he's here. So Mr. Sharp, he's from the New York City Department of Finance. You are welcome to present your presentation.
Thank you. And like I say, it's good to be here. I'd just like to ask, how many minutes would you like this to be? So that I can make adjustments to bring it into a time frame that works for you.
10 minutes is good.
Good. So we'll divide that 10 for questions and answers. I'll talk for about 5, and I'll let you ask me some questions about 5. Department of Finance has a number of different programs that help both homeowners and tenants in the community. There are actually a number of different ways we engage with the community. You may be familiar with us because you're paying something. It could be a parking ticket. It could be a property taxes. And usually it's one of those two, but we also have programs that help tenants, individuals who live in a rent-regulated apartment, usually rent-stabilized apartment. And those programs will freeze the rent of qualified individuals. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the various things that we do, but the idea of coming tonight was to also to present an idea to you about how we can sort of strategically get this information into the community. In the matter of property taxes, I just want you to be aware that there are a number of different exemption programs that can help the owners of 1 to 3 family homes save on taxes. It can start with a simple check of about $300 per year, all the way up to saving more than half of your property tax. Average family paying $3,500 to $5,000 in tax. You can imagine getting about $2,500 to $3,000 back in the home simply by filling out forms if they qualify. And those are the property tax exemption programs. There are others who don't qualify for exemptions. Maybe they don't meet the age and income requirements, but they've had a little trouble maybe keeping up with taxes. There are a number of different payment plans available that can either structure your past indebtedness or defer the payment of your taxes till you can sort of structure it in a way that you can fit your budget. It doesn't eliminate the tax, and the money's owed still will incur interest, but they're just tools to help a person manage these required payments. And the last component is there are also things that help us with deed fraud, a growing problem, but they're just ways to information that can help you protect your property. And last but not least, there's an office of the not taxpayer advocate, but it's the traffic ombudsperson who also comes out into the community to talk about parking tickets, which is also a great concern. So there are a number of different programs within the Department of Finance that we'd like to share with the community on a more regular basis. The thought that we had was to have a regular way of perhaps working with the community board, combining maybe 2 community boards, and presenting some of these topics in virtual webinars. The way we do it is we handle, if you'd like, we would handle the back end work, that is having the meeting or putting on the WebEx. Of course, we bring the materials. There's Q&A if you decide to have your meeting that way. And by sort of combining community boards, we get the resources of your email list you can blast out to the elected officials, can also share and spreading the word, your home associations, tenant associations. And so this is something that we want to try to do more strategically with you. And I had the idea of perhaps doing something with you and Community Board 9 as soon as this month, if possible. And it was around the message of the rent freeze program. The reason why I selected this one, there are a number of families in your community board who, because they did not submit applications last year or reapply for the benefit, they may lose the benefit this year. Last year, we didn't revoke the benefit from anyone that didn't send in an application, but that stay of the revoking is bound to sunset soon. And so when that happens, a person not only would have their rent raise up from the frozen rent to whatever the legal rent is, there is a back amount that they could be, a landlord could come to them to see if they could get the money from them, because of what happens is the Department of Finance provides a property tax exemption in lieu of any raising of the rent. So when you don't keep in the program, the landlord loses that tax benefit as well. That's very, very condensed, but we wanted to perhaps present the idea of us partnering to do combined community board outreach events. And we just wanted to measure your interest in that. Does this sound like something you think would be beneficial to your community board? And would you be interested in working with us on this? And I'll open up for comments.
Personally, I found this information to be very wonderful. However, since we're in June and we break up in the summer, I think sort of we should have been notified, like possibly earlier. Do you guys work during July and August?
Oh, yes, of course we do.
But the community boards do not function during the summer months. You do know that, right?
I do.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I said, well, if if you were willing to consider it. See, by us doing the back end work, we would just rely upon you to take a flyer and start blasting it out. The various means that you reach out to your community, and that's what we want to partner with you. You know, the community-based organizations, houses of worship, different, your elected officials can also lean in. We just want you to blast the information out and sort of bring them to the event. The rest will be handled. And I had in mind maybe the last week or third week of this month. We're staged and ready to go. It's just a
Ralph, is
matter
that too
of,
soon for community board too? The third week, we have board meetings on Wednesdays, so up
Mhm.
until the fourth week. Ralph?
Yeah, we can't commit with any other community
Yeah,
board
I
now,
don't-
Mr. Sharp. That's the only
Yeah.
issue with that. That will have to take a lot of planning. And we're really good with our neighbors at 9. I think that was a good suggestion, but we'll have to follow up with that and advise you if that's something that we can do with them.
okay. So I am reaching out to various community boards. I haven't been able to actually get 9 to speak to them directly. You know, we've sent emails and the like, but I'll leave the scheduling, I guess, to you if you think that it would be too soon to actually put something on. But like I said, we sort of prep these things and sort of get them ready to go, and it's just a matter of whether you think this is something that you would like to have in your community before you guys do summer recess.
Well, we won't be able to commit to anything.
Right.
We'll bring
Yeah.
it back to the executive committee, and then Cynthia
Okay.
and myself will follow back up with you with that. That shouldn't be an issue. But we'll with the follow up. But we won't be able to commit to
Right,
anything as
that's
of
too
right now.
soon. Yeah, it's too soon.
All right. Well, I did want you to be aware of it, and I guess it's just maybe unfortunate that it took us a moment to actually sort of make the connection. But I'm so glad I got a chance to be here this evening. And as you think about it, remember we're here and we're ready to follow through when you are.
Thank you so much. Did you put your information in the chat box, sir?
I certainly did.
Oh, thank you so much. So we will follow up because this is a very important information that was given that will definitely benefit, I'm sure, a lot of our residents. So
Yeah,
it's just the timing is a little bit tight, but I appreciate
Chair,
it.
we
Is there
have a
anyone who has?
community resident, John DeRiggs, has his hand raised. Community resident,
Okay,
John
John.
DeRiggs.
Hi, John, you're on.
How y'all doing?
Hey, this is also Barbara DeRiggs. I just walked in. Are they modifying or eliminating the current exemption options for the property taxes?
No, they're still the same.
Are they going to improve on them at all?
Modifying?
Or eliminate some of the exemptions that are available to homeowners and condo owners and like that?
Not that I'm privy of. Some of this information I find out as an outreach person when the public does, because some of it's a matter of legislation and things like that. It's not actually a matter of Department of Finance policy. Most of this is controlled by in the legislature or by some sort of executive order.
Okay, yeah.
As I
Go ahead.
But I don't know of any changes coming down the pike per se that would impact you. I know we've done things like, for instance, with the senior citizens benefit this year, individuals who what do you call it? They renewed the benefit automatically, even for individuals that didn't send in an application or a renewal application because of the COVID pandemic. So, things like that.
Yes, because I just noticed that there's a meeting and the proposal is like 74 pages long. I'm trying to look through it. So I was just trying to get the crib notes onto how they're changing the property taxes.
The matter of the lien sale has been a discussion for over a year. And there are changes coming down the pike regarding that. Some of it you may have read about, but I don't have official releases and things like that to share. But that's just that's a snippet of the type of information that we'd like to bring to these meetings. And your homeowners will start receiving new bills July 1st. You might find some interest then when they see maybe numbers have changed and they want to know what type of action they can take, how to challenge an assessment, who to talk to, how to go about these things. So we would like to have, to bring this type of information to the community board and your residents.
Ms. Barbara,
I'm sorry.
do you have access to the chat?
No, I'm just trying to find out how to get his email. Or
Right. That's what I was
don't
gonna
know.
say. You can look into the chat. So, could you quickly take down his number so you can get his chat and all the other information?
Yes,
Mr. Sharp, would you mind providing that?
After the meeting, if they leave their emails in the chat, I will send the entire chat out to anyone that leaves their email in the chat.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Great.
So, did you hear that, Mr. Riggs?
Yes, thank you so much, Cynthia.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Right,
Was
great.
that all?
That's it for that one. Yes.
Okay. Anybody else would like to have a question in reference to this this presentation? Okay, none being heard. Let's move on to Mr. Felix Tavada of
Thank you.
NYC HPD. How are you, sir?
I don't think Philip is here, but we do have Leanna and Ted is on. I'll bring up the flyer that was given to us by HPD, and it's just a announcement more or less.
What is it? HPD program. Oh, that will be great. Let me Snapchat that. Okay. All right. So I have that information. Would anyone from HPD like to say something? Okay. Thank you. Anyway. All right. Now we're moving on to old business. Anyone has any old business? None being heard. Let's move on to new business. Is there any new business that needs to be given? Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Corn.
If a hotel gets put in and is not being used, what's going to happen with it?
Oh, that would be, I don't know if Justin is still on the line.
He's not, but is it after it's built and installed?
Oh, Justin is still here. Justin is still here. But be more specific, Jeffrey, with your question. A hotel is put in, what do you mean? They still have to go through the process of, depending on what zoning is, they'll have to go through a ULURP.
Right. But say after it's built and 5 years and no residents, nothing is in there, what's going to happen with it?
So, I mean, what could happen there is what the underlying zoning would be. So, if it's in a commercial district, anything could move in there. It could be torn down. It could turn into something else. Whatever is allowed there by the zoning.
Okay, I think he's sort of reaching towards the question like I had last week about the turning into homeless shelters. I think that's probably on the line that he's want to ask about. So if it's in a residential zone, we're not just talking about M1 zoning, right? Are we talking about as of right property? If they're not getting any hotel guests, what could come of the hotel property? Which you probably can't answer.
Yeah, yes. I mean, so hotels can only be built in commercial areas, some mixed use areas, and M1 areas. So if a hotel was built in any of those areas and then it ceased to exist, the next use could be anything that those districts allow. If you're talking about homeless shelters, those are allowed in most districts in the city.
But they have to come back to the board with that information?
At that point, it would be as of right.
Oh, see, that's a big, huge problem in my district. Because we have that one that was placed on Southern Boulevard off 167th Street, with it said it was going to be a hotel. However, maybe not even 6 months later, it turned into a shelter, and that's what, you know, my concern was last week when we spoke. But if it's not,
Right. And I can kind of repeat what I said there too, is that, you know, I think this additional layer of oversight and review will actually cut down on the amount of hotels that you see in general. So that type of conversion will be probably less likely. However, having said that, you know, homeless shelters are still allowed as of right, regardless of this happening or not. But as far as the sort of someone coming in, someone building a hotel, you think it's a hotel, but then it's something else. I think that this would probably, you know, can't say for certain, but probably cut down on that, because this is a very lengthy process. It's a 2-year process. It's costs them a lot of money, and also will bring those hotel operators in front of you, in front of us, in front of the council member. And so I think there'll be a lot more oversight as to who's behind these developments and what their intentions are.
And make
Thank
one thing, make one other thing. Could that be, instead of a homeless shelter, low price apartments? So people have a place of living there.
Yes, I mean, what if a hotel ceased to operate? Whatever is allowed under the existing zoning, if that multifamily apartments were allowed, then yes, it could be built there. If it was in an M1 area, no. But if it was in a high density commercial area or mixed use area, then yes.
listen,
Okay, I hope
all
that
right, so,
answers your questions to an extent, Jeffrey. I know what you're
yes.
trying to get at. Same thing that the Madam Chair was saying, but that's just something
No,
that we'll
sounds
have
like
to take
answer.
it as it comes
Right,
to us.
we gotta cross that bridge when we get there. So sorry. Okay, moving forward, is there any new business, Ralph?
That
Anyone
was
has
that
new
was
business?
new business. Now we're up
Oh,
to
that was, okay.
announcements.
Okay, any announcements? All right, none being heard, so can I have one of my committee members make a motion to adjourn the meeting, please?
Before that, Ralph, don't log off because I need to speak to you before to get that chat. It booted me off of the computer and I'm on my phone now, so I lost all of the chat information, but you were still on. So I need you to copy and paste the chat information.
All right, that's not a problem. I'll do it now. But
Who's on? Where is my
Joyce
minutes?
logged off. You still have Paul.
Paul, hi, Paul. Could you possibly make an adjournment for the meeting so we could close the meeting out, please? Yeah, he can't turn on his mic.
You have Jeffrey.
Okay, Mr. Jeffrey, are you still there?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
You have to move the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, thank you so much. All being said, thank you everyone for your presentation, all in attendance. I really appreciate it. And we will see you in September. Have a great and wonderful summer, and please wear your mask.
Have a great one.
Bye-bye.
Acevedo, is it okay you could stay on if I could speak to you for a second?